Welcome to the Wild and Fierce podcast. We are your hosts, Amber
and Johanna. We're here to explore womanhood through real, raw, and unfiltered conversations.
Please remember this podcast is for education only and not a substitute for medical advice. Always consult your own healthcare professional.
Let's dive in.
All right, welcome back to the Wild and Fierce podcast, episode 8. Can you believe we've done 8 episodes already? It's crazy. So this is our last episode of season 1. We'll be taking a little bit of a break, coming up with a bunch of fun stuff to bring you guys for episode 2. So make sure you go listen to season 2, not episode 2. Yeah. So make sure you go listen to all of the episodes in season 1. For this one, we're going to do a fun Q&A. So Johanna and I have both come up with a list of questions that we're going to go back and forth and ask each other. So this will be fun. And then we do plan at some point to do a fun Q&A with listeners as well, where you all submit questions. So be coming up with ideas for us as well. All right. So I'm going to kick us off. I'm going to ask the question first. Johanna will answer, and then we'll kind of bounce back and forth. So my first question is around motherhood. For any of you that have not listened to Johanna's episodes where she talks about being pregnant, there's a little bun in the oven, so this is related to that. So what aspect of motherhood are you most curious about or excited to experience?
I think the thing that I'm like most curious about is you hear all the time from moms that like triggers come up. Like I'm trying to figure out like the best way to explain it. Like you might be able to like put into words better than me. But it's basically like things that may have happened when you were a child or childhood traumas that happened to you, something along those lines, that then when you have a kid, those can like become triggers for you with your kiddo. And I find that to be very curious because I don't know exactly like what I know there will be some because we're all human, right?
Oh yeah.
But I'm kind of like curious about what that'll be and then like what the journey will be like to overcome that.
There definitely will be those, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's similar to entrepreneurship where we say being an entrepreneur is like the biggest personal growth experience of your entire life.
Yeah.
I feel like motherhood is comparable, if not more.
Yeah.
Like the things I learn about myself and the things that do trigger me in motherhood are things that I never would have known about before, or they were happening before, but I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's totally gonna be a thing for you.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. It's even happened just with pregnancy. Like there's things like there's so much personal development that I've gone through just with pregnancy. And so it'll be really interesting. And then I think the thing that I'm like most excited about is just to like raise little humans and like see if they're more like my husband or more like me or like they're not like either of us and they're more like grandma or grandpa or auntie or uncle or just like kind of like see the little humans that they become.
I made this Instagram post, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about how when a baby's born, everyone like celebrates the baby being born, but like it's an equal celebration of the mother being born. Because I think we're truly reborn as women when we become a mom too. And not even just with like your first kid, but I think with every subsequent kid you have after that too, you're transformed in so many ways. So
yeah, you're like a completely different person. A friend of mine, she was saying, because I'm gonna do a mother's blessing,
yeah.
which is basically like blessing the next stage of life of like kind of like death of maidenhood and the birth of motherhood. And it's really interesting. Like my friend was talking about how this experience, there's like part of you that's dying and part of you that's being born. And I think I almost kind of like even saying that out loud. And as we're talking, like, I wonder if that's what happens with so many women with like postpartum depression. Like they almost expect themselves to be who they've always been, but like that woman doesn't really exist anymore, for better or for worse. Um, it's just different. It's kind of like when you get married, like you're no longer the woman that you were pre-marriage and or job or house or anytime you have a big life transition, you're no longer the person you were prior to that. And I think motherhood is probably like one of the biggest leaps, going, especially from, I think, from 0 kiddos to your first kiddo, like you're going, that's a huge leap. But then, like you said, that happens every kiddo afterwards. I actually even just saw a post that, and it was more on like that like spiritual aspect of motherhood of like there's still one more birth after your final baby, and it's the final birth of you.
Yeah.
And it just like shows like how much it's an ever evolving journey and experience, and it just really makes you curious of like when you start to like really look at like the emotional spiritual side of things and like how that's then playing out for women's physical experience and symptoms because they didn't know about the spiritual emotional changes, or they maybe didn't give enough space to process the spiritual and emotional changes, or they didn't meet their expectations and stuff like that, which would just be kind of an interesting thing to, explore if you are going through that.
Well, I mean, everything you've known for,
Hmm.
depending how old you are. Like for me, I had Emmy when I was 26. So everything I'd known for 26 years was in some aspect changed.
Yeah.
Like a child literally changes every aspect of your
Yeah.
life. And I know that sounds dramatic if you don't have kids, but it's true. Like
Yeah.
going pee, going poop. You don't do it by yourself anymore.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
there's a little kid knocking on the door. Like everything just changes. Your marriage changes, your friendships, your
Yeah.
time, your availability, everything changes. So it really is, if you're not aware of that change or you don't give yourself grace through that change, I think that's where a lot of postpartum depression and anxiety can definitely, I don't know if I would say it's triggered, but maybe like exacerbated by that.
Yeah. Or even
More
a
so.
resentment, like
Yeah.
resentment of the kids or resentment of
Yeah.
your spouse or of life or whatever it
I think
is.
that's also why I've had quite a few clients and friends say they expect to have that like immediate fall in love with their baby moment, and a lot of them don't. And I think that's a big part of it. Their body and like subconscious is trying to catch up with this massive change that just happened, that it takes a little bit of time
Yeah.
to have that love moment. I don't know if I want to say don't love the baby, but like it's not that instant, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
euphoric moment for
Like soul to
someone.
soul connection. Yeah. Well, and I think that's something that's kind of an interesting experience when you think about anything that we go through, engagements, weddings. I even talked about this in my pregnancy episode of like us finding out that we were pregnant was not the quintessential, like, oh, I'm so happy, I'm so crying, blah, blah, blah. It was like, okay, we're pregnant, hope it sticks. And then you spend like the next 12 weeks holding your breath, right?
Totally.
Um, so that was not like the quintessential like Instagram pregnancy moment. But I also feel like that could happen with birth and seeing your baby for the first time. Like we have like this almost like romanticized movie view of like what it quote unquote should look like. And then that I think doesn't always allow us to process what it's actually looking like in real life. And that can be really hard to grapple with. Like I've cried many, many times that my husband and I did not get that quintessential moment with finding out that we're pregnant. It felt like it was kind of robbed from us, but I'm like, our story was still beautiful in its own way, and we've had very beautiful moments, you know, throughout, and it's still blossoming and blooming. Um, but it's a very interesting experience of like when we set those expectations based on the movies or stories or Instagram or whatever it might be, and then life doesn't actually meet those expectations, that can feel very jarring. It can feel like you're robbed. It can feel scary. It can make you feel like less than, or like your situation is less than. And then I think that, it's like a whole experience that you have to process. And I think a lot of people don't process because we also have our society that's like, bounce back to the pre-baby you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Bounce back, like gotta get back to normal. Um, and I think that's something that like you and I with our own practices is like, we're not going back to normal. There's no such thing as going back. You can find your new normal, you can build back better, you can take care of yourself, nourish yourself, but you do have to process, and trying to go back. It's kind of like trying to go back to like our high school bodies. Like that's literally never going to
Totally.
happen. So
No,
stop trying to do that.
no. It's the same thing postpartum.
Yeah.
You literally are never going to have the same body, and you're not the same, like if you're not the same person,
Yeah.
how can you expect to go back to the same body? Like it's literally not possible. Your body has been transformed in beautiful ways.
Yeah.
So trying to bounce back
Yeah.
just makes everything more difficult and frustrating and all other negative words I could think of to use
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
hate bounce back culture so much. But
We like make it harder on ourselves for sure. And an already hard process.
Mhm.
Already a very hard process for sure. Okay, let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to literally be here for two
the whole
hours.
episode on one question.
Our first question, we're like, let's go through like this super deep life rant.
Shocking.
Okay, so my question, it's kind of surface level, but I
Okay.
imagine
I
we're
like
gonna
surface level.
we'll go deep. What's your favorite thing about being a coach? And I kind of want it to be like almost like your unexpected favorite thing about it, of like when you were you 5 years ago thinking about being a coach, what is something that surprised you about that you love about this job?
Something that surprises me. I mean, I don't know if this is something that like surprises me, but getting, so like I'll give two perfect examples. This week, I had two clients that were graduates of my program send me messages that
Mhm.
they're still doing the things we practiced and that I taught them. And that just makes my heart like want to explode because I didn't come into this industry to just help women lose weight or just help women get strong or just stop peeing their pants. Like my goal and the reason I call it the Fierce Foundations and like Fierce Lifestyle is because I want them to continue these things well beyond me. Like my goal is not for someone to be dependent on me
Yeah.
forever. And so for me to get messages like that from clients that are still doing things well beyond working with me and like it's improving their life and their quality, I think that's what surprised me the most. Like I knew I would love celebrating client wins and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
be able to even see like my graduates
Mhm.
that are still doing the things and then wanting to send me messages about it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I love the most. So it's the client success, it's the client wins, it's literally the life transformation. It's not the body transformation. That part's cool, but it's like the transition it makes in their life, that their marriages are better, that their energy's better, that they're showing up as better moms, they feel better in their skin.
Yeah.
It's that stuff.
I love that. I've actually had clients like do massive job changes or career changes because of our work together.
Ah,
And it's so interesting because like you and I did not get into this work thinking that we would be like helping women like find their true calling in their
no.
career, right? But then like watching that, I'm like, wow, that was such a cool thing to like be part of the catalyst of, or like be in the catalyst of that. Um, that's a really cool thing. Have you had any clients become a trainer because of you yet?
I've had a couple ask. I
Yeah.
actually, one that I actually had early on, she asked if she could like at some point work for me because she wanted to
Oh,
do what I did. Yeah. So I've had a couple talk about it. But none that have actually followed through yet. I know you have one that is that's like thinking
we
about
have a couple, yeah,
yeah.
that like enrolled in the NTA after working with
Uh-huh.
us.
That
Katrina's
is
had
so
one, and
cool.
I think I've had one or two, and then a handful that are like thinking about it. But yeah, it's really fun. It just like shows. I think the cool thing about this work that we both do is it shows women another option for a career platform that like you don't have to work corporate. If you want
Yep.
to, absolutely feel free, but you don't have to. And there's other options outside of the standard, status quo for jobs. You can make money in many different ways. And I think that's kind of a cool thing. And you can do something that you're passionate about too and make, like make a living with it, which is fun.
I think one other cool thing to keep in mind too is there's a lot of, I don't know if I want to use the word stigma. It's harder, I think, for women to invest in themselves, especially when they become moms. And so I always tell these women that sign up that like this is not just an investment in you. And this is probably the same for your business too. This is an investment in your future and your entire family. And I think sometimes it's hard for them to conceptualize that because it feels like a transaction at first. And then they realize that our coaching is so much more than just workouts. It's so much more than just nutrition. Like I truly think the greatest investment anyone can ever make into themselves is to hire, I don't even have to hire, but like invest in your health, invest in your
Yeah.
wellness, invest in your growth. Like investing in you will always have the greatest return on investment, in my opinion, because it literally does. It's like this trickle down effect. It affects so many other things when you start making yourself a better version of you.
Yeah.
And I think
Talk
being able to
about
see
not
clients
going
do
back.
that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I just said I think that's what's my favorite part is getting to see clients make that transition of like they literally turn into the best version of themselves, and because of that, their entire life gets elevated.
Totally. Well, and talk about not being able to go or not going back to who you
Yeah.
previously were, right? Like it's like once you know you can't unknow and then you can't go back.
Yep.
Um, and I feel like that's a really cool thing and a big change for a
Mhm.
lot of our clients that they experience because our practices do take such like a whole body, whole life
Yeah.
approach with
I had
them.
a coaching business coach one time tell me that once you've grown, you're like a puzzle piece that can no longer fit into the old puzzle. I remember when I was trying to decide to leave dental hygiene or not. And I told her, I was like, when I go back, I just don't feel like I fit anymore.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, because you're not the same person you were when you started. And I was like, oh my God,
Oh,
that's so mind blowing. And that's how I feel about like your health and wellness and fitness journey. And once you've grown, you can't go back to the old you because you're better and healthier and more confident and all those things. So yeah, that puzzle
yeah.
analogy I just love.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to like add in a little like for people that are thinking about making a lifestyle change or taking care of themselves pre-pregnancy for preconception or pregnancy or whatever it might be. Or like let's say you have a health diagnosis, like maybe it's pelvic organ prolapse or PCOS or endometriosis, thyroid issues, whatever it might be. it can feel really daunting at first to take on new things. And it can feel like, how will I ever actually get the hang of this? Like, how will I ever actually get the hang of nourishing myself, hydrating myself, working out, sleeping well, etc. But I equate it to learning a language. It's really hard at first and really challenging, and you think that you'll never ever do it until you work with a teacher or work with a coach that's helping you learn it. And then all of a sudden, after 3 months later, 6 months later, you can go to a restaurant and you start recognizing words on the menu because, that happened to me. Like, I was learning Spanish, I went to Mexico, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can read this entire menu. And once you learn those skills, they don't go away. And that's why, like, the puzzle piece changes, right? So, like, once you learn those things, your puzzle piece will no longer fit in that puzzle. And it doesn't become so daunting once you learn those skills. And I think a lot of people think if they don't have a skill, they're not good at something. So they're like, oh, well, I'm really bad at like nourishing myself. I'm really bad at working out. I'm really bad at consistency. I'm really bad at blah, blah, blah. It's because you're a beginner. It's because you haven't, like, maybe you haven't had support with it, or maybe you haven't found the right thing yet. But I think that's where having a coach can be so helpful, because it can help give you stepping stones and support while you're in the hard part, before you've really established things in your day-to-day routine. And then once you're in your day-to-day routine, it no longer feels like a big deal anymore, because it's just who you are. And what stemmed this thought process for me the other week is, people might look at what I do for my pregnancy as like a lot of work. I eat a ton. I'm very intentional with my nourishment. I'm working out, and I'm working with you. I run my labs and I interpret my labs, and I'm like really, really intentional with my supplement routine to make sure that my body's getting what it needs. I'm diligent about my rest. I'm diligent about hydration. I'm diligent about mindset and learning about birth and physiological birth and stuff like that. And that can feel like a lot from someone that, like, for someone that maybe hasn't even like started learning the language yet. But it doesn't feel like a lot to me because I've spent so long learning that language. And you just have to give yourself grace in that learning and growing process, that it is going to be overwhelming. It is hard to implement these things, but that doesn't mean to not do it.
And that's why you and I both with our businesses, we do it incrementally and like in baby
Yeah.
steps. I always tell
Yeah.
clients, I'm not going to overhaul your entire life right now. And it's
Yep.
funny because sometimes they'll be like, well, wait, what about this? What about this? I'm like, we will get there,
Yeah.
but we're not going to do it all at the same time, because that's where you crash and burn.
Yeah.
When you try and do everything at one time. I give the analogy in all my like onboarding calls of like building blocks. So like stacking one building block at a time. If you have toddlers, you're stacking blocks, right? And then what do toddlers love to do? They love to knock the blocks over. So like this is what we do to ourselves. If you fail once, you knock the entire blocks over, as opposed to, okay, I'm going to reset, refocus, and I'm just going to keep stacking the blocks. And over time, your tower gets taller and taller and taller. And that's how we do it in our businesses. We don't just let's flip your entire life upside down. We do it slowly
Yeah.
to get change. Okay, should we go to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. What's one morning ritual that completely changes your day when you skip it?
So this is one that I don't really have a morning ritual. I'm not a routine. We've
Okay.
talked about this in past
Uh-huh.
episodes. Like, I'm not a nighttime routine girl. I'm not a morning routine girl. I like probably will be, especially when I'm a mom. But something that has, like, I've really noticed is hitting snooze. If I
Oh,
hit
yes.
snooze, go back to sleep, wake up, hit snooze, go back to sleep. My morning, I am so much more groggy. I have such a hard day. That happened to me today because I decided to hit snooze and go back to bed, which sometimes I just need to do that. Like, I need more sleep, and I'm pregnant and life is life. And sometimes that just happens, right? But it took me a lot of time this morning to like really get my feet under me and like feel like my day was going. The days that I just get up, even though I don't feel like getting up in the morning, and for context, guys, like, I am a night owl. I'm better with pregnancy. I don't know if you can even be a night owl, but I'm like more night owl tendencies. I don't really like waking up in the morning, especially to an alarm. But my husband, we get up at 6 because that's when he needs to get up, and it works better for me to just get up with him rather than like having like these like wake, sleep, wake, sleep, wake,
Yeah.
sleep increments. But that's been like kind of a big thing that I've really noticed recently, of like, I just do better if I just get up with that first alarm. It's not always easy. It's much easier said than done, but I do think that that makes a big difference in like how I just feel the rest of my day, because I'm not like that groggy, like weird mental state.
Yep, I would agree with that one for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. it's hard. I know you posted, you were like, I hit snooze last
It
week.
always backfires on me
It
every time.
does.
I'm like, it'll be so nice to sleep for 15 more minutes. And then I do it and I'm like, gosh, dang it. And whenever I do it, it starts spiraling.
Yep.
Like the 5 minutes I said I was going to give myself turn into like 30. And then I'm just like rushing the rest of the
Yeah.
morning. And then I start taking it out on my kids when it's like, I was the one that hit snooze. So like, why am I rushing Emmy when I'm the one that got her up late or whatever? So
Yeah. And honestly, the past 2 mornings, remember, like before this episode, I got on, I was like, I'm kind of having a rough week. Now I look at it, the past 2 mornings, that's what I've done.
yeah,
And I just need to get up and just do it. And then I could take a nap later in the day or something like that, like luckily because my
totally.
schedule. But it's tricky. And I feel like that's something that like if you feel really groggy or really out of it and you're hitting snooze like 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4, 5 times, 6 times, like definitely like check in with that just because it is really jarring for your brain. Like there's actually like physiologically things going on with your brain for it. You're kind of like waking up mid
Yep.
sleep cycle, and that's really like messy for your brain. So that could be what's going on there too. Okay, Amber, what is something you want all women to know?
Oh, all women to know.
Or like something that you wish all women knew, something along those lines.
This is going to sound so cliche, but it's so true. I hate the definition of self-care. I hate it. So like if I think of what society thinks of self-care, I think of massages, I think of getting your nails done, I think of hot bath every night. That's what like society thinks. But I think self-care is all the things that most women are not doing, not nourishing themselves enough, not resting enough, not having white space on their calendar, not working out, like literally the fundamental buckets. And so like when I say self-care is not selfish, it's essential, that's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to getting your nails done and all the like material things, which is what I think society makes it.
Uh,
I think so many women don't even take care of their basic human needs. And to me, that is self-care.
yeah, for sure. So it's really funny that you say that because my husband for Mother's Day got me 2 books. One we're gonna read together, it's a parenting book about setting boundaries with kids.
Oh, I love that.
And then the other one is literally called Real Self-Care, a transformative program for redefining wellness, crystals,
What?
cleanses, and bubble baths not included.
Love
Because
it.
that's what she's talking about. She's like, and I haven't read it yet, but I read like the back like where like they'll have like other authors like comment and like do a blurb, and it's basically like, yeah, massages, acupuncture, hair, getting your hair done, like those things are great, but that's not actually taking care of yourself. Like
Yes.
actually taking care of yourself is eating, sleeping, allowing yourself to go to the bathroom and not holding it. Um, like getting groceries, working out, like literally essentials, like what you're talking
Yeah.
about. And that's a huge thing that I think our society has really gotten, I don't know if I want to say gotten wrong, but like really like kind of like gone down the wrong path with is like, oh, if I just put a massage on my calendar every week, then I'm managing things well. And it's like,
Yeah.
not if you're like never able to say no to your best friend that is constantly asking you to help with things that you don't want to or don't have capacity to,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. I give the example I used to give when I worked in hygiene and we talked about like taking care of your oral health. So I'm going to use this example here. Was I used to say that it was like, let's say just brushing your teeth, but doing nothing else, like never going to the dentist, never flossing, all these things, was like going and taking a dirty car and putting like a wax on it. So you're like trying to make it look nice, but there's still all that dirt and grime underneath. And I feel like that's a similar thing with like a massage or getting your nails done. Are those things nice luxuries? Yes. But like if you're not meeting your basic essential needs, one massage or whatever
Yeah.
is just like putting a wax over a dirty car. You're not actually taking care of everything else and fixing everything underneath.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
Totally.
I'd say.
Yeah. I love that. Cool.
Okay, your turn. What's something you might have to think on this one? What's something you've changed your mind about in the last few years?
Man, I feel like I just because of my job and being an entrepreneur these past few years, like I feel like so many things have changed. It's like sometimes like talk about like not being the same person. I feel like I'm like sometimes have a hard time even like going back to that. Um, I think something that I was just talking to a friend before we hopped on this podcast. She was talking about um I'm like deciding whether we want to go down this route or not. She was talking about birth options and home birth or hospital birth or birth center. And she was saying, like I don't even recommend home births because what's the point if you just get transferred out? And then we basically, and that's not really what I'm wanting to, my point that I'm getting at, but that just to give you guys context, but the thing that I approached her with is what if it's not the type of birth that you're choosing, it's how you're choosing to approach birth as an individual. And so something that I feel like that I've really come to terms with as an adult is I'm an adult.
I like it.
I get to make my own decisions. I get to do my own research. And I don't personally choose to outsource my authority to other people in my life because I'm an adult. I make my own decisions. And I think that's something that I've kind of changed my mind on a lot over these past few years is I used to view providers as authority over me. But I view them more as like guidance counselors now. They might give me guidance, suggestions, opinions. They might help me piece things together, but ultimately, I'm the one that gets to decide whether I think something is right or wrong or true or not true or whatever it might be. So I think that's something that I've like really changed my opinion on over these past few years is I used to blame the medical system or I used to blame my doctors or I used to blame my schooling or whatever it might be. Or I used to also feel a lot more sympathy. This might sound really cold. I used to feel a lot more sympathy for people that had really crappy things happen to them, done by their provider, done, for whatever situation. And I think a big thing that I've like really come to terms with is we're always part of it. It's always a bi-directional relationship. We cannot outsource decisions and then be upset by the results if we outsource them. So it's like you either outsource and then you can't be upset, or you don't outsource and then yeah, you can be upset because you like may have made a decision and then it didn't happen how it's going to. And I think come back to birth because I think that a lot of women do that with birth. We go to our doctor to tell us what to do. And then a lot of women don't do any education of how to actually nourish themselves. They just take a prenatal or how to actually hydrate themselves or how to actually sleep well or how to actually prepare their body physically for birth, mentally for birth, emotionally for birth. And then birth doesn't go how they expected. And then they blame the birth or like or they blame their body like oh my body couldn't do it and maybe that's true or maybe it's not, but I always just like want to encourage like what parts could you have played and could you have been more of an adult and actually taken responsibility in certain aspects of that to change the outcome, because I guarantee that there's probably something that you could have done to take more responsibility and authority over your life and your own decisions.
I can't remember what the quote is, but it's like the things that you aren't willing to change or like the things that you accept. Like we like to think that life happens
Hmm.
to us,
Yeah.
but it's like life is happening for us and
Hmm.
we're the driver of that. Like you're not a victim to your life. You can, well, okay, I'm gonna back up. You can choose to be the victim of your
Yeah.
life, or you can choose to be the creator of your life.
Yeah.
And that comes down to like self-advocacy and self-educating
Hmm.
and autonomy and being a part of the process, which is why I know both Johanna and I in our businesses, like we're not here to tell you exactly what to do.
Hmm.
Like we're teaching you skills and
Yeah.
giving you education. Are we either going to be there to support you and give you accountability? 100%. But
Yeah.
like we don't want to have to handhold you the whole way. And so then when you're done working with us, you're like, oh, you're like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we want you to be a part of the process. I always tell my clients the harder you lean in, the better you're going to get results out of
Mhm.
this. Like I'm going to
Mhm.
lean in, but I need you to lean back.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
going to be a partnership. This is
Mhm.
not just me telling you do XYZ, check it off the
Mhm.
list.
Mhm. I've actually had clients get upset with me because I'm not telling them what to do, and I'm actually like pushing them to be an adult and an authority of their own life, and that makes them really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And I've sat with that discomfort with them because I'm like, this might be one of the first times, like you might be 40 years old, but this might be one of the first times that someone's asking you actually how to make a decision for yourself.
Mhm.
And I know that probably like for you listening, that might sound kind of crazy or harsh or um I don't know, like unexpected. Because I think we always like joke around like, oh, adulting, hashtag adulting.
But I
You
think the
know?
reason that it can feel harsh is because so much of our
Yeah.
traditional medical system is go to my doctor, they're going to tell me what to do.
not even medical system, schooling system,
True.
careers,
Yep.
everything. It's like it's always based around telling us what to do.
Yep.
Because then we don't have to take responsibility. And if we don't have to take responsibility, then we get off it easy. We don't have to
Well,
actually
yeah,
do
if
the
something
hard
goes
work.
wrong, we can blame somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's something that I've like really, really changed my opinion on is yeah, it's heartbreaking hearing about certain stories. Absolutely. It's not that I like want people to go through bad things, not at all. It's
Yeah,
heartbreaking what happens to
totally.
women. What happens to everyone, but like what happens to women in a lot of these situations. But then I'm also like, but what happened? You know? Like we can't just blame the doctor. We can't just blame the midwife. We can't just blame, your job, your boss for firing you. We can't just blame blah blah blah. And like that's not to say crappy things happen. You get in car accidents, that happens. I'm not saying that like we have to be like grossly t- authors of our own life in like such an extreme way, but I do think I really like want to encourage everyone, but especially women, to like really look at like how could I have played a different role in this situation and what role did I play and how can I make changes and how can I like prevent something from happening in the future and stuff like that. And I think that's a big
Hmm.
mindset shift that I've made. And I think honestly, one of my biggest aha mindset shifts, like it came probably 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And it was like 6 months to a year to running in the business. I had this like aha mindset shift of, oh, no one's coming to tell me what to do, or no one's coming to do this for me. If I need to order a dress for a wedding, I need to go order the dress for the wedding. My mom's not going to tell me what to do. Amber's not going to tell me what to do. My husband's not going to like text me to remind me. And if he is, that's not his job. Like I am the owner of my own life. If I want to like make a certain revenue month, if I want to hire more clients, if I want to build my team, it's up to me to do so. And I think once you really take that mindset shift of it's up to me, a lot can change in your life. And then it feels way less victimy, way less sticky, way less gross, way less life's happening to me. And instead, you can actually become. And I think the biggest like a big shift that happened for me too is when we say you're the authority of your own life, think about it like this: you're the author of your own life, like you are writing your own life book. um and that was a big shift for me of like I was like the authority blah blah blah, like what does that mean? But then like once I heard like author, I'm like you are the writer, you are the driver's seat, you're the author of your own life. That was a big change.
I love that.
Yeah,
Good
cool.
one. Okay.
Okay, what's the thing that you're most proud of outside of being an entrepreneur and a parent?
Oh, that's hard.
Or wife? Like I kind of want to like what's like the like just you, like Amber,
Just
not the
me.
wife, not the business owner, not the mom. What's something that you're super proud of?
Um, I I would say my own personal growth, which this kind of comes through entrepreneurship and motherhood, but like just my own personal growth. Like if I think back, like if high school me, you guys know that trend that was going around, like I had coffee with
Yeah.
whatever me. If I could have coffee with high school Amber, and like I was a massive, massive people pleaser. I compared myself to everybody. I had no boundaries. You asked me to jump off a building, I'd probably say yes. That's a dramatic example, but you know what I mean. Like I said yes to everything. I thrived off very little sleep. I worked out 100% just for aesthetics. Um, what else? Those are like the biggest things. I just feel like I've grown so much. I'll say over I'll say over like 10 years.
Hmm.
Looking back from where I was to where I am now to like now I work out because I genuinely love it. It like
Hmm.
makes me feel good.
Hmm.
I don't look at it as punishment. I am better. I still obviously we all fell occasionally into the comparison trap, but I feel like I'm way better at that.
Yeah. I've even noticed that with you just since I've known you.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten so much better at that, which is huge for me. And in the beginning, it literally took like muting certain social media accounts because it was
Yeah.
so bad for me, like so bad. And then it was just hurting myself, hurting my own business. So like I had to mute certain people. Now that doesn't even bug me. Um, I can say no so much easier now, which that was so hard for me. I love white space on my calendar.
Hmm.
Even just teaching already like Emerson boundaries with her own schedule. Like she wanted to do dance, gymnastics, soccer all at the same time. And I was like, girlfriend, One, I can't handle that. Two, that's too much for you. Like, I want you to just be a kid. So, yeah, setting boundaries has been huge. And I think just being able to prioritize myself
Hmm.
has been a big thing too with myself, with my like people pleasing tendencies. So,
Yeah.
being able to say, no, I don't really want to do that. Or,
Mhm.
no, I'm going to take this time to do this for me. And yeah, so I would just say my own growth over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's my
Love
answer.
that.
Cool. Okay. I asked you that one. I don't know if you'll know, hopefully you'll know the answer to this one because I feel like this was hard for even me to answer, but do your best.
Okay.
What book has influenced your approach to business the most?
I feel like I kind of have a couple. Well, so one, it's kind of like it approached, or it, sorry, it influenced my approach in business, and it was How to Heal Your Metabolism by Kate Deering, which is a health book,
Mhm.
but it showed me that there is another way with working with the body and your metabolism, and we're not just like screwed with a slow metabolism for the rest of our life. So I feel like that was like the most pivotal practitioner um growth moment for me of like, wow, I want to do things very differently from what's out there. And that like really changed my life, which then I feel like that has like then trickled into business. Um, so I feel like that one definitely was really awesome. And then I honestly like I'm not like the best entrepreneur in like that aspect of like I don't read a lot of like entrepreneur books.
Okay.
That's probably
You're more
something I
like
should have done.
podcasts. What about like,
Podcasts
are there
too.
like any podcasts you can think of? And if
Well,
there's
one book that I do really like is The Peace Process by I don't think I have it on my
okay, you can
shelf.
put it in the you can put it in the show
Yeah, I'll
notes.
put it in the show notes. But it was really great because it just like I read it like a year and a half to like 2 years into business, and I was like, and I had it before I even started my business. I was like, man, I should have read this from the beginning. But it just like broke down things really nicely of like how to set up a practice of like systems and marketing and sales and kind of getting back to the basics of things and like messaging and stuff like that. So I feel like that was like a really nice, like brought things together kind of full picture for me. Like I feel like I noticed a big change in my business after reading that book. So I feel like those are two that like come to mind when I think of books that have kind of like changed business and practice.
Okay, those are good ones. Okay,
Okay. This is an unpopular opinion question. What's
okay.
the most like niche hill you'll die on? So like an unpopular opinion that you will fight for.
Oh, that's hard. Okay, we already talked about the bounce back culture, so I'm not going to use that example
Yeah.
because you guys all know that's one for me.
Yeah.
I think the other one is that common equals normal.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a big one for me. I preach that a lot. So, example, peeing your pants is a common part of motherhood, so that makes it normal, so we shouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Or once you become a parent, it's harder to prioritize you, so it's just normal for moms to not take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I could literally list like a million examples because I hear them all the time, and that's something that just drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Just because we hear something is common does not mean it's normal, does not mean that we can't be proactive, does not mean there isn't ways to treat it.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say that common does not equal normal, ladies.
And I feel like that even like goes back to what we were talking about before of changing my mind in the past few years of like that conversation of like the common versus normal thing basically is like a scapegoat for you deciding to suffer for the rest
Yeah,
of your life
100%.
because of X situation. And it's like, but you could also choose something different.
Yeah,
And you could become the authority in your own life and be an adult and choose something different. And I think a lot of people were like, well, I don't know how to, or I don't know where to find that, blah, blah, blah. Well, search, start, digging in deep and persevere and get to where you want to go because you want better for your life. And that's where I think being an adult
yeah,
it's like there I literally have a book that I need to like read it. I've just read the first few pages of it, but the book is literally How to Be an Adult. And I'm like, I think many people need to read this because I think a
yeah,
lot of us are like almost like children logic and mindset in adult bodies and then we complain and sorry, I'm gonna cuss, bitch and moan about our situations. And it's like, but we could just like not. You could choose something different.
well, and like in the age that we live in, for someone to say, I don't know where to look, or I don't have the resources, or well, I don't have the time. Like, I'm sorry, there's so many resources out there, you guys, between podcasts, social media, AI, like
ChatGPT.
you name it.
Yeah.
There is a way you can make it work. And I know everyone hates that we all have the same 24 hours. Do I
Yeah.
think we all have the same 24 hours? No, I think that
Yeah.
is totally stupid. However, I am willing to bet that each and every one of you could find time in your day to make your life a little bit better by starting something, even if it's a few minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, stop being the victim to your own life,
Yeah.
to put it
For
like
sure.
bluntly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And we're talking about this coming from the perspective like we work with a lot of clients, we do a lot of consults, and we do a lot of consults with people that then don't sign up.
yeah,
And it's because sometimes it's harder to sign up to start taking responsibility to make changes in your life, and it's hard to sign up because you're also taking the risk of something might not working out, right?
it's like the
And
fear
so I
of
think
failure.
Amber and I come across this a lot is a lot of people complaining about their situation and then not doing anything about it. And I think it's easy for her and I to kind of almost get like, oh my goodness, like seriously with ChatGPT, like you could have someone like not have someone have ChatGPT tell you exactly how physiological birth should work,
Yeah,
how all interventions, like all your intervention options, and you'd get that in half a second and it would be
totally.
delivered. You know, so it's like you could have ChatGPT help you work your calendar, work your schedule, figure out how to say no. You could literally have them like help you with therapy. Don't necessarily know if I condone that, but you could have them you could ask ChatGPT to give you questions to
Yeah,
help you coach yourself. I do
totally.
that all the time.
So
Like,
do I.
okay, ask me these business questions to help me figure out what I'm trying to figure out, basically. Yeah, I really think like with our access to internet and AI now, like we really have so few reasons to not make our lives better.
Well, and I think if you get to the root cause of why you're saying you don't have the time or you don't have the
Yeah.
resources or you don't have yada, 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 it's just an excuse to get to the deeper reason. Maybe it's fear
Yeah.
of failure. Maybe it's fear of success. Maybe it's
Yeah.
you don't feel you're worthy of investing in. Like there's usually a deeper reason behind why you're not taking action than just time or money or access to equipment, or whatever your excuse is. Like I would challenge you to dig deeper and figure out what is the real reason that you're not taking action because it's not
Yeah.
usually the surface level reason that you think it is.
Yeah.
And I think we're also coming at it from the point of like we've seen so many women transform their
Yeah.
lives through our
By taking action.
businesses just by, taking that first step of like signing up or getting help or whatever you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
So,
And I also like Amber and I are not perfect. Like
no,
we hold
no,
ourselves back all the time, and her and I honestly call each other out on it, or we have
all the
people in our
time.
life that call ourselves out on it. But I do think once you start to learn the skills to catch yourself when you're in that, you can get yourself out of it a lot quicker.
Yep.
And learning that skill isn't easy. I mean, like literally, like my first 2 years of business, I cried probably not daily, but a lot, and felt super burnt out and super
Yeah.
like WTF am I even doing? And then things got a lot easier, but it's like that was a 2 year growing curve. That's not easy, and I don't think people see that. They see where we're at now, or see like we see other entrepreneurs where they're at now, and or I'm seeing all these postpartum women that are like, looking super strong after giving birth, and I'm like, man, like I want to do that. Trying to not compare myself, but like it's also like, man, but it's easy to think like, oh, it came easy for them. But it's like, no, they put in a ton of work to get there. And we can't like discount the amount of work that they put in to do something.
Yep. Yep. For sure. Okay. How has your definition of success evolved since you started your business?
Yeah. So I was super obsessed with money in the beginning.
I think a lot of us are.
Yeah. I think it's because it's one of the only like tangible things.
100%.
It's like and we're also so used to like working for grades, working
Yep.
to get on the varsity volleyball team, working to get into the college. So we're used to very tangible wins, which is very masculine in itself. Like we're not used to the feminine aspect for women. Um, and I think my definition of success, like, yeah, I like making money. I like being comfortable. I like, I like signing on clients. Like that is successful in a certain aspect, but it's not successful if that comes at the cost of my mental health, my, like literally burning through my nutrient stores, like I've talked about in the past. Like I was super depleted. So success to me is a combination of being where I want to be financially and then like building the business where I want to be, but then also having a really great like quality of life as well as like that quintessential like work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big change for me of like my first couple years. It was like all about like money, 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 drive, push, push, push. And then now I'm like, yeah, I like money, but not at the point where like I'm gonna run myself into the ground.
I think a lot of that comes from your high performer stuff too, of like
Yeah.
your worth is found in your results is the one word I want to use, but results or money or, what you can produce.
Yeah.
There's so much
Yeah.
more to it than that.
Yeah,
Good.
for sure. Okay, what's your absolute, like if you could just like pick your ideal morning routine, you had like nothing like actually scheduled on your calendar and you could just like do what Amber wants to do, what would it be?
So I would wake up before my kids and I would get my workout done, shower, like be ready. I am obsessed with porches and like in my dream house someday, I've told my husband this 1,000 times, like a white wraparound porch with a swing. Oh, so sitting on my deck now is like, or my patio now, drinking my coffee, like listening to the birds and the sun shining, then going and like waking my kids up, making breakfast, doing that whole thing, and then getting them off to school. That's like my ideal morning.
I
It's
feel
not
really good.
rushed.
Yeah.
I fill my cup before I fill anyone else's.
Yeah.
I don't feel rushed. Feeling rushed gives me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's why like the example of hitting snooze makes
Hmm.
my day go so much worse because one, yes, I'm a little bit groggy, but two, I feel rushed and then I rush the kids and then I feel like I start them off on a bad note. And so
Yeah.
slow, not rush, taking care of me and then taking care of the kids after that.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that I like need to really work on over these next few months before baby's here is like get up when I say I'm gonna get up and not do the snooze. And more so just like setting myself up to not feel rushed because I think that's something that I'm so used to being in that rushed state. I'm breaking out of it more and more, but I think it's like almost hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm having a hard day because of that rushed moment.
Yeah.
It didn't like let me
The rushing does
set
not
things.
set me up well at all. It
No.
makes my day much more chaotic and my
Yeah.
kids, which never feels good. So,
Yeah, for sure.
all right. This is similar to the question you asked me, but what's something you wish more people understood about your industry or what you do?
I'm gonna go with what I do because the wellness industry like makes me gag sometimes.
Oh, I think that's like a
So
good
I
way
think
to differentiate it.
yeah, so and I think the wellness industry, something I wish people knew is that it's toxic and a lot of it's driven by sales and money. And so it's really not that different from like big pharma or like big food or anything like that. Like big wellness and big supplement is gross.
Quick
Really,
fix.
really gross, super quick fix. So I almost like don't really like to say that I'm like part of the wellness industry because it's like, ew, it's gross. It's really driven on profit. So the what did you say? How did I differentiate it? Your industry versus
Industry versus what you do. So you were
what
gonna
I
say
do.
what you
Okay.
do.
So
Yeah.
what I wish people understood more about what I do is that it's so much more beyond just eating chicken and broccoli and rice for dinner. Like it is so much like I've actually like started to get away from like using the word like nutrition in my title because people think meal plans and diet and like yeah, that's a piece of the puzzle what we're working on. Not even meal plans, but just like nourishing yourself is a big piece of the puzzle and we do that through a lot of food. But that's because it's such a essential part of just being an existing being on this planet, right? Like plants need nutrients, that's why we fertilize them. Dogs need nutrients, that's why we give them food. Babies need nutrients, that's why we breastfeed or feed them, you know? So we that's a one aspect of what I do, but so much of what I do is like so much deeper of like finding answers and actually getting to the root of what's going on. And then I wish people understood that you can do that just because you got a diagnosis doesn't mean you're stuck with that forever and ever. Like you may have had plenty of doctors tell you that, but that's their own opinion. That right? Like this goes back to like our conversation a while ago. Like it's they're a guidance counselor. It's their opinion. Get multiple opinions and they're not there to tell you what to do. You can take that approach if you want to, but then you might suffer from whatever you're experiencing for a long time, right? The body wants to heal, the body wants to overcome. And I think that's a really big thing that I really wish people understood more because I feel like that's like a constant. I feel like I'm in like quicksand of like trying to like pull myself out of is like, yes, you can reverse PCOS. Yes, you can reverse autoimmunity. Yes, you can reverse period issues. Yes, you can reverse endometriosis. Yes, you can reverse gut issues. And no, you don't have to cut out all these foods. And no, you don't have to go on these gut protocols that the wellness industry has created. Like, It's like you can do all of these things, and I wish people realize that more.
That's a really, really powerful one. I think it comes back again to the like common and normal thing.
Yeah.
People assume, well, once I got a diagnosis, this is just my normal now. I'm
Yeah.
stuck with it.
They
You know?
blame it on genetics because that's what like our system does. It's like, oh, that's just your mom had it, so you have it.
Yep.
And it's like, well, maybe she has it because of nurture, not nature. You know,
I think
like
we stay
our
too surface
genes
level
can
with a lot
change.
of things. We don't question it. We don't dig in. We don't
Yeah.
go beyond just the simple diagnosis.
Yeah. Because it's easy to just stay on
Exactly.
a simple
Easy to
diagnosis.
take a pill. It's easy to just do that and like not try and because fixing stuff is hard work.
It's
It's
so hard,
there was a reel the
but
other
so
day
worth it.
about working out and like fitness.
Yeah.
And like people were like, but it's so boring to do progressive loading, which is like the same workouts for a substantial amount of time, or like
Yeah.
continuing to eat healthy. Like it gets boring. Okay, yeah, there might be parts of it that feel boring, but like that's where the true change happens. You have to stick with things for a while. But the industry, wellness industry loves to push, and even the fitness industry loves to push all these quick fixes. Yes. Oh, here, try this. Oh, that didn't work. Try this. And it's like you're bouncing from one thing to the other. And that's why you don't see results.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to work in the fitness industry in like the group fitness realm, and one of my studios used to be like, oh, yeah, you can come to our gym and you'll never do the same workout again.
Yes.
And I'm like, when you actually understand fitness and physiology and like how muscle building works and how like actually getting stronger works, that's like the opposite of what you want to do.
This is why, no offense to like anyone that does Beachbody or any of these things, that's why I have a hard time with a lot of that stuff because there's so, or even like YouTube. Oh, I go to YouTube and I zoom, like look up random, I almost said Zoom. I look up random workouts and I do them, but I don't see results. Well, it's like,
Yeah.
that's why. That's not
Yeah.
how physiology of the muscles work. That's not how fat loss works.
Yeah.
And then they're frustrated because they're like, well, I'm working out. Why isn't it working? Well, it's not the way your body's
We're
designed to work.
piecemeal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like this Q&A episode's really showing our sass.
it is. God.
We're like, this will be a
Yep.
fun and light episode, and now we're just like, everything's messed up.
No, whoopsies. We said real and raw, guys. You're getting it.
Yeah.
Getting the real and the raw. Anyway. All right.
Okay.
Next one.
Bucket list travel destination.
I really want to go to Bora Bora.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm sure you've seen like all the fancy celebrity people when they go stay in those like private huts on the water. That is like my dream.
They're so expensive, dude.
Oh, I know it's stupid, but I want to do it so bad. I tell Ty that
I
all the time.
I'll have to look into it. I can't remember what it was, but I heard of another destination from someone that it's like a tenth of the cost of Bora Bora because Bora has like almost like the name brand aspect
Yes,
to it.
yes.
Where
Something like
this,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Something like those cute
yeah,
huts where they have the little
yeah,
glass floor with the fishies
yeah,
swimming under it.
yeah,
That's what I
totally.
want.
No, I'm right there with you. That would be so fun.
It looks so amazing. Okay, I'm trying to pick one for you that's like a little bit. I'm still gonna ask one because I think this one's fun for any entrepreneurs that are listening. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who wanted to become an entrepreneur?
You don't know what you don't know. And so like if you don't take action, you can never learn to then get better at something.
I
It's
like that.
like you would never expect to like never have ridden a bike and then being able to like do like a massive like bike race overnight, right? You have to learn. It is a learning process. Give yourself grace to learn, but you have to take action. I think that's the biggest thing with entrepreneurs is they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. And I'm like, you only figure out what to do by making a step and either learning from it or you'll learn from it whether you fail or succeed. You just constantly have to take action. And
Mhm.
it's like the biggest thing. It's kind of like once again going back to like taking authority of your own life. Of like it's really easy to sit in that comfortable, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything. Get off your butt. If you want this bad enough, start making changes, learn from it. It's hard. It's not
Oh
easy.
yeah.
Um, but the only way that it's going to get easier is if you start to learn how to do it.
Yep. It's like that analysis paralysis where you
Yeah.
like overthink it so much that you do nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where a lot of people starting entrepreneurship go. I know
I
I
think that's
did.
why most of them fail.
Or they think they're being so busy, but they're
Yeah.
really not being productive at all. They're just
Yeah.
like doing so many things, but they're not like needle moving things.
Yeah.
But they're so afraid to
Yeah.
fail.
Being busy doesn't mean anything.
No, and that was something I had to learn too.
Okay. What is something that's totally ordinary that you rationally love?
Oh, something that's totally ordinary and that I actually love.
I have mine. I'll share afterwards.
Oh, I don't know if this is like, oh, no, this is like so simple, but I literally, this is kind of sappy. I literally love watching Cy wrestle with my kids. Absolutely love it. Like I'll just sit like this little creep in the corner. The amount
Oh,
of videos I have on my phone of Cy wrestling and tickling my kids,
yeah.
the sound of my kids giggling, it's the most
Yeah.
ordinary sound in the world. And I've been like this forever. Like even before I had kids, I would sit and watch baby giggling videos because nothing brings
So
me more
cute.
joy than
Yeah.
listening to kids laugh. And then you listen to your own kids laugh,
Yeah.
and it's like your husband or your partner making them laugh. Like it brings me the most irrational joy.
Yeah. I love
That's
that.
what I would say.
I love that. Mine is way less cute. It's
Tell me.
the feeling after you vacuum carpet.
Oh, that's a good one too.
It's so ordinary, but
That's like
it's
me when my
so
cleaners,
good.
when my cleaners come, they come
Yeah.
every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When I get to walk out of my office and my kitchen and my house is clean,
Yeah.
oh, my joy level jumps like
Oh,
10
it's so
inches.
big.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Or like you can like step on the freshly vacuumed carpet and it's like extra squishy and foamy and you know all the crap's out. I'm just
Or
like,
you know
ooh,
the
it's
line,
so
you know when they
good.
vacuum your couch and you have the lines on your couch,
Yes.
the vacuum,
Yeah,
I'm
it's the
like,
lines.
yes,
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
a,
It makes me like really, really irrationally happy.
oh my God, I love that one.
And I don't vacuum enough. I need to vacuum more.
So do I.
Yeah.
You even got your fancy new vacuum.
I know. I know.
Vacuum more.
You know? Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna okay, I'll just ask you this one. I feel like this is kind of similar to the one that I asked you above, but we'll do it anyways. What's one thing you learned about yourself in the past year that surprised you?
Um,
It can be silly too, it doesn't have to be serious.
yeah, true. What's something I've learned about myself? Um, I think like how much of an introvert I am.
That's a good one.
Because I'm like very much so an extrovert, but I'm like really an introvert too. I think I'm an introverted extrovert because like I do thrive being with people, but I like really, really love just being at home with
So
my
do I.
husband and just like having nothing on our calendar and we can just like be at home. I love that. So I feel like that's something that's like I've like especially being pregnant. I'm just like, oh my God, like I just want to be home with my husband.
I feel like that's gonna get even elevated more for you when
It
baby
is.
arrives.
Yeah.
Because right now, when we have empty weekends, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Someone's like, what are you doing this weekend? And I'm like, whatever I want.
Yeah.
There's nothing on my calendar, and it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Versus I used to want the busy schedule and like the chaos. And now I'm like,
I
nothing
love
on my
that.
schedule sounds so good.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, phew, next weekend we have nothing. Well, I
Yes.
actually like, especially in the summertime, like with weddings and just holidays and stuff like that. I'll actually like go in and like try to once a month of like home weekend. Like it's literally like a no plans weekend. Like
Yep.
we can go and like go get ice cream if we want to go get ice cream. We can go to the
Yep.
lake if we want to go to the lake. Like we don't have plans and then just chill and
So
relax. And it's so nice.
I like that.
Clearly, vacuuming and having no plans is what really gets me
I
going.
mean, hey, that makes the world go around to me. So I'm good.
Okay, what's a dream or goal you haven't shared publicly yet?
That's hard. Um,
And you're about to share it publicly.
yeah, I know. Um, Gosh, that's a hard one. I mean, the podcast had been a goal forever. We already did
Yeah.
that. I've kind of already shared this publicly. We're considering more leaning towards having a third. So that's one
Baby.
thing, baby. Yeah. What else? Uh, I don't know. I, I don't know if that's really something I haven't shared publicly, but like I want to grow my team. I haven't really shared
Yeah.
that, I guess. I want to grow the Fierce Not Fragile team. So I want to bring on a coach,
Yeah.
so I can keep growing things. A dream of my husband and I at some point would be to have like our own space
Yeah.
for both our businesses. So
It's
that's
so
a big
cool.
one.
Yeah.
Because for anyone that's local, I love hosting mom baby classes. So I host pop-up classes and I do them at like different gyms around town, which is the biggest blessing in the world that I like have the opportunity to do that. But Sai and I were like dreaming the other day of like, what if we had our own space and I
Yeah.
could like have my own office in there and like
Mhm.
host my own classes and just how cool that would be. So,
Yeah. It'd be such a fun like community aspect.
yeah. So I'll say that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. We only got, you have one more, I have two more. Okay. What's something about becoming a mother that no one talks about, but you wish they would? And it can just be related to like pregnancy too. It doesn't obviously have to be
I'm gonna go
work.
at it from a practitioner standpoint of working with a lot of moms.
Perfect.
Um, so many moms are so burnt out and doing it all and taking it all. And like there's some of my most depleted clients when I like look at their hair testing or blood work. And I don't think that's talked about enough though.
Yeah, I agree.
Of like we I think we like joke about it. But it's like, no, this is a serious issue. Like, there's some of my sickest clients, the stay-at-home moms, because they never get a break, whether that's self-inflicted or not. Because I think that there's also that aspect of like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
superwoman and I can do it all. But it's also like, but you don't have to. And we've never actually done that as a society up until recently. It's like this hyper-independent society has caused issues.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that's like, it's almost like becoming a mother is becoming, um, man, the word is escaping me, synonymous maybe with being depleted, burnt out, exhausted, not feeling like yourself, not feeling like you can do anything for yourself, stuff like that. And I really wish we talked about that more and started changing that and, like created more like sister communities and kind of brought the village back a little bit more and got grandparents involved more and did things to really take care of each other and encourage. And I also think it's like I just saw something about like the 40-hour work week was based on knowing that someone else was also going to be home taking care of the basic things in the house. And I think right now we have a lot of couples where like both are working 40 hours a week and then one or the other, most often the woman, is then also doing like the house load as well on top of that. And it's normalized that that's okay. And I think like we just need to like talk about that a lot more and start changing some things and taking authority over our own life and asking better for ourselves as women and parents, um, and communicating our needs. And it's kind of like everything that we talk about on this podcast of like being aware of your needs, communicating your needs, being okay with having needs. And I think that needs to be talked about way, way more because I don't think I think unless you're in a situation like you or me where we're working with a lot of moms, I don't think that the common population sees the severity of it,
No, no.
of like women losing hair and never sleeping and getting wrinkles at a really young age or hair growing at a really young age or um, getting like autoimmune conditions really young or cancer really young or just like there's a lot of like women are just so there's a lot of health issues going on with women and I think it's just because like you can only do so much and
Well,
it's
I'm sure
like
you
our
can relate to this. I
threshold is
can't,
just huge.
yeah, I can't tell you how many women come on either their initial call with me or their like subsequent calls. And I just ask, like, how are you? And
Yeah.
they just start like bawling.
Yeah.
And it's like the floodgates are finally down. And once they then start taking care of themselves, they're like, I'm not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, and they start listing all of these things. And I think society needs to see that side
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
women more.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah,
And
there's
and
a lot of
and
burnout moms.
people too, like I think dads and men like have this going on. It might just be because I think I don't want this to like people to hear this and be like, oh, women have it so bad and
Oh,
men
for sure.
don't. It's
Dads do too.
humans in general. It's like our
Yep.
society right now
Yep.
is just in a constant push, 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 go, 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 take things on.
Mhm.
Um, and we don't slow down. And then we're like so addicted to being in fight or flight because of phones and so many things. I mean, we've talked about this in so many episodes, but it's like it's really causing some major issues. And I think it's also then coming down to our kids. We have a lot of very overstimulated kids. We have kids that don't know how to self-regulate. We have a lot of picky eaters, which, I think people think picky eating is just picky eating, but picky eating is a symptom of other dysfunction. We saw
Mhm.
a lot of dysfunction, and I think that's something that's like you don't really see it until you see it, and then once you see it, like in
Can't
Amber and
unsee
I
it.
shoes, oh my goodness, it's like it's heartbreaking.
Well, that's literally why Cy and I hired a cleaner for our
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Like, I was trying to do all the cleaning because I helped,
Yeah.
obviously, but like that was one thing we read. Gosh, what's his name? Buy Back Your Time. I can't think of his
Mm.
name now. Anyways, I'll put it in the show notes too. Um, one of the things he talked about was like, who can take over something to give you a little bit more of your time back? And like for us, that was hiring a cleaner that comes twice a month. It literally, to not have in the back of my head that I need to think to go like deep clean. They don't do everything. They do like the more,
Mhm.
deeper cleaning. They do my kitchen, they do the baseboards, bathrooms, all that stuff. Like just taking that off my plate
Yeah.
gives me so much more time to be present with my kiddos, to take
Yeah.
care of me, to work on, and same with my husband. Like it's a game changer. I'm
Mhm.
not saying everyone has the means to hire a cleaner, but maybe it's, hiring someone once every 2 weeks for a date night for you and your husband,
Yeah.
or, I don't know, whatever I'm
I
thinking.
also think like a lot of people say they don't have the higher, like they don't have the means to do it, but then we spend money on a lot of other things that aren't necessarily like
Yep.
improving our health as much. And I know not everyone like wants to optimize things as much as you and I do, but there's a certain thing where it's like, man, your mental load can only handle so much, and maybe we need to cut other things out so you can do that, and then you'll be living a lot better of a life.
Oh, for sure. I
And
think there's so many things that we assume, or I shouldn't even say assume. There's things that we convince ourselves are essential that we pay for, when in reality, there's a lot more important things I think we could be spending our money on.
yeah, totally, 100%.
Okay. Last one.
Oh
Oh,
wait, no, I asked
wait, no,
if
you have
yeah.
one. You have one, then me. Sorry.
What's one thing you're working on unlearning right now?
One thing.
You're like, there are just so many things.
That's a lot of things. One thing I'm working on unlearning. Oh, I'll use this example. I am trying to unlearn that well, there's two things. As we talked about this in a previous episode, I'm trying not to say quick or hurry anymore.
Mhm, mhm,
And I'm trying to not say busy.
mhm,
So a lot of the times when people are like, how's your week? I'm like, oh, it's so good, but it's so busy.
mhm.
Or like again, I caught myself going to get in the shower the day and I was like, I'm gonna take a quick shower. And this comes back to,
Yeah.
I told you guys earlier in this episode, I hate being rushed.
Mhm.
I hate being in a hurry. So just by me saying those small things to myself, I think I'm just continually like hitting the nail to make myself feel more rushed and more busy by saying
Yeah.
quick and hurry and busy. And at the end of the day, a practice that I've started for myself, because as an entrepreneur, there's no time clock.
Yeah.
Like I'm the one that decides when I'm done and when I start, right? And so it's easy as an entrepreneur to just like keep working. It
Mhm.
doesn't even have to be entrepreneur people that bring work home. You get what I'm saying? And so one thing that I'm trying to do is at the end of the day, reflect back on what I did accomplish for the day and celebrate that versus beating myself up for things that I thought I'd get done that I didn't. And I think that makes me feel more productive and less busy and
Yeah.
less rushed. So
Yeah.
just like slowing down, being more present, being okay with white space,
Mhm.
taking a slow, intentional shower, or, I'm going to go on a walk. I'm not going to go on a quick walk. I'm not going to go on a short walk.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk.
Yeah. I even like I caught myself this weekend. I was going to say we're gonna run to the grocery store real quick.
Yeah. And I say it all the time.
Yeah. And I
All
was like, no, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and get a couple of things.
Well, I mean, if we talk about, we do not have to go into the depths of this, but like the things that we say
Yeah.
go into our subconscious. So like things
Mhm.
that fire together, wire together. If I'm constantly telling myself I'm gonna do something quick or rushed or I'm busy or I'm in a hurry, that's the way my body's going to operate,
Yeah.
So just like slowly changing the words we say about ourselves makes a really big difference.
And that alone causes adrenal fatigue. And I think
Oh,
that's what's so
100%.
misunderstood about adrenal issues is they're like,
And
why do I have
anxiety
adrenal
and all
fatigue?
those
And I'm
things.
like, it's because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Um, I think you shared a podcast like last week or a couple weeks ago that was exactly talking about like the words you use matter, or maybe Mel Robbins shared one.
I
Um,
talked about this a lot last week, so I'm
okay.
pretty, oh, I did.
Yeah.
Uh,
So maybe you could put that podcast in the show notes because it's basically like
in
your
my
words
story
are your
archive.
reality or something along those lines.
Oh no, it wasn't a podcast, it was a book I listened to.
Okay.
A super good audiobook. It's by Gary Bishop.
Okay.
He's the Unf Your Life. Stop.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? What book I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Unf Yourself. I'm not going to say the word. Unf
Yeah.
Yourself. He has another one that I just listened to on self-sabotage. It is so good.
Cool.
Everyone should listen to it. So yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. It's very good. It's
Cool.
a pretty
I
quick
need to
listen.
get like Audible or something so I can like have access to audiobooks
Do you
more.
not pay for Spotify?
I do.
You can get audiobooks through Spotify. There's a
Oh.
ton of free ones.
Oh, interesting.
That's where I listen to almost all of them now.
Oh,
tons of free ones in audio in
well,
Spotify.
more you know. Okay, cool. Well, there
That's
you go,
right.
guys. If
Yep.
that's the only thing you take away from today.
You can get audiobooks on Spotify.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. What's a lesson you've had to learn multiple times before it finally stuck? And it doesn't have to, it can be funny or serious or whatever.
Ooh. I feel like we're like so on like the like entrepreneur like
I
personal
know.
development grind that I'm like, how
All
do I
your
get
brain
off
can
of
think of.
that?
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna go to gardening.
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
Uh, and finally stuck, I think is not necessarily, it's still in the process of becoming stuck. Not doing things too early,
Ooh,
like
that's a
getting
good
ahead
one.
of myself in the springtime. My goodness, I planted my pots this year and a little too early, and it didn't
I
go
have that
well.
problem every year because I get really excited.
I got really excited, yeah, and I try to rush it.
Mhm.
And then I do things too early, and then it fails, and then I waste time and money, and the plants die, and then I need to restart again. It's like that,
And it's
like
just like a
that
perfect analogy
itch.
for
You just
so
have
many
to
things.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good analogy for just like life.
Yeah. Like don't start your garden too early.
Yeah, it's like
But do
such a
start
thing.
it. Do start it,
Yes, yes,
entrepreneurs.
yes,
Do
yes.
start your garden.
Just know that it might be a slow process.
Yeah, yeah.
Not-
Gardening has honestly been like a huge thing for me of like
Oh, for
learning
sure.
patience, and I can't rush things. Like it's literally outside of my control. Like you can plant the seed, but the seed will come up when it's ready to.
Yeah.
Um and delayed gratification. Plants and gardening has been really great for that. Okay, cool. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know if you enjoyed this. We'll try to like maybe make it a little bit lighter next time. I don't know if that's even possible for us
We even
because
planned on it. We were like, oh, this is gonna be a light episode. And then look at us.
like life lessons. So funny. Well, we wanted to create this podcast because we were like, so many women need to hear these things and they get these takes because, like just talked about with like becoming a mother that no one talks about is like, unless it's talked about, no one knows about it, and like no one realizes how depleted all these moms are and like physically depleted at a cellular level. It's not just like they feel exhausted.
But we're also just so passionate about all this stuff.
Yeah,
That's where like the fiery sassiness comes from. We're
yeah,
not trying to be cold and,
yeah,
we're literally just so passionate about
yeah,
women living their best life. So,
yeah, for sure. So one request that I have for you listening, let us know what your favorite episode was for this season. You can
yeah,
message me at Wild Muse Wellness on Instagram, or message Fierce Not Fragile on Instagram, or send us an email. I think we list our email in the show
it is. It's
notes,
in the show notes.
which
Yep.
I honestly haven't even checked. I should check that
It's
email.
in there.
Have you
Yeah.
checked it?
No, we should check it.
Whoops.
Here's our reminder, guys.
Yeah. So send us an email or whatever it is. Just like somehow let us know what your favorite episode was and why it was your favorite, because we're gonna start mapping out season 2. And when we know what you like and why you like it, we can then start to make more episodes along the same lines. So
Yeah.
if you loved the Q&A, great. If you hated the Q&A, great.
Tell
Just be
us.
kind in telling us that. But yeah, let us know. The more feedback we have, the more we can bring, resources or topics or whatever it is to you guys, um, to really curate this to be a podcast for women. And
One other favor too is if you do like our episodes, share them and please go give us a rating on whatever platform you listen to. The more you guys rate them, the more our episodes get pushed
yeah,
so we can share our message with more women. So
yeah,
the feedback and the ratings and all that are very, very appreciated.
super helpful. And
Yeah.
it's so easy. Like on Spotify, you literally say 5
Yes,
stars and then you're done. You don't even have to leave a review.
totally.
Super easy. Okay, well, that's a wrap for season 1. That's so exciting. And we'll
Exciting.
start mapping out season 2. Let us know what your thoughts were about season 1. And we will see you guys in a bit. I'm not going to put a timeline on it.
No. We'll see you in season 2.
Yeah, we'll see you in season 2. All right, bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Wild and Fierce podcast. If you loved this conversation, we'd be so grateful if you left a review and shared it with a friend who needs to hear this.
And if you really loved it, take a screenshot, share it on your stories, and tag us. We'd love to see it. Until next time, stay wild, stay fierce, and keep owning your journey.